Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from my side, everyone. Today, I representing Group 3. Uh, I'm going to give presentation about literature in a Renaissance period. Before that, I'd like to introduce about Group 3. So we consist of Fajar Abdul Wahid and me myself Slamet Pambudi and Tri Fauzi. Okay, so next, it's about the outlines of our presentation. So there are four materials that I am going to present. Uh, the first is Renaissance era, and then the second, historical movements in Renaissance era, and the third, central figures of literature in Renaissance era, and the fourth or the last is literary works in Renaissance era. Okay, now jump right into the first material. So it's about Renaissance era. Uh, have you ever heard about it, or maybe do you know about it? Okay, no. So Renaissance era was a fervent period of European cultural, artistic, political, and economic rebirth following the Middle Age, generally described as taking place from the 14th century to the 17th century. The Renaissance promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and art. Okay, now second material about historical movements in Renaissance era. Okay, so as we know, every era must have some important and historical movements, and so does the Renaissance. There are some important movements in this era. For example, the pre 1400 is the Black Death and Rise of Florence, and then between 1400 and 1450 was the rise of Rome and the Medici family, and then between 1451 to 1475 was Leonardo da Vinci and the Gutenberg Bible, and then between 1476 to 1500 was the age of exploration, and then between 1501 to 1550 there was politics and the Reformation during the Renaissance, and the last in 1450 and beyond was the Peace of Augsburg. And the next material is about central figures of literature during the Renaissance period. Okay, so our Renaissance period had many great and famous figures of literature as the following. There are William Shakespeare, Geoffrey Chaucer, and Niccolo Machiavelli, Miguel de Cervantes, Dante Alighieri, Desiderius Erasmus Roterodamus, or simply known as Erasmus, and then John Donne, Edmund Spenser, Francisco Petrarca, or known as Petrarch, and then Giovanni Boccaccio, John Milton, and Sir Thomas More. Okay, next is about famous literary works in Renaissance era. Well, actually, Renaissance era had given birth many famous works from its figures of literature, but here I'd like to mention only 10. Well, just to represent that though. So the first is Hamlet by William Shakespeare, and second is The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, and the third is Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, and the fourth is King Lear by William Shakespeare as well, and then Paradise Lost by John Milton, and Utopia by Thomas More, and Romeo and Juliet, this is famous, right, by William Shakespeare again, and then The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, and then Praise of Folly by Erasmus, and then Macbeth, once again by William Shakespeare. Have you read any of those though? Well, that's it, our presentation about literature in Renaissance era. Thank you guys for having paid attention. See ya.